Okay. So you mentioned career. Tell us about how the retinopathy affected your career, and what did you do to manage the expectations of being an employee and having to, deal with customers, or like the different aspects of having to work a job even though you have this disability. What did the process, how did the process of the retinopathy affect you in your work life?
Okay, so during the last 18 years of working with just one eye, I had to make accommodations as far as driving. So my daughter researched like the most safest car out there that had what they call now a blind packet. So that blind packet helped me to drive. It would beep if somebody was in my blind spot. It would not allow me to transfer lanes if somebody was there. It kind of like helped me drive more safety. So that gave me confidence to continue driving. It was like part of the eye that I was missing. So that's what helped me to be able to drive myself and be independent and, get myself to and from work. As far as working, I still had good vision in the right eye. So I utilized that eye a lot to, read what I needed to do. I would tell my, first of all, my career was a registered nurse. I have a bachelor's and a master's in science, nursing, health education, administration. So I went from being a school nurse to private duty nursing to supervisor nursing, charge nursing in a nursing home, and adjunct professor at Houston Community College. And then I organized the certified nursing program for Elite Independent School District for the last 8 years. So now I did a lot of reading and being on the computer, and of course teaching my students. So I literally taught my students how to talk to me, what side to be on to talk to me so that I can see them. And when we walk in the nursing facilities or whatever, I had taught my students what side to walk on, so that I can see everybody and everybody is in my view. And my students respected that, and they adhered to what I was asking them. So they made the journey easy. And of course, my coworker that I work with, she made it easy too, because she understood, this eye and that eye, and if I needed her to proofread, she would proofread for me. So I had like a coworker assistant that would help me proofread things if I turned it in, different things like that. So I shared my experience with my coworkers and my students, and in doing that, I had the utmost respect and support, because they were there to help me. They would be like, Nurse Saverin, that's why you got to stand on this side. Nurse Saverin, look this way, like that. So they were helping me as well with the fact that I only had the vision in my right eye. And of course, my coworkers were there to help and support as well.
That's nice. It's good that you had those people that were helping you through that. Because I know there are, and I think it's just the nature of that job, the nursing job. I think it's very, you can understand it more in that setting, because it's all about people that need to get healed, and all about people that need some treatment for whatever issue that they have. So I think you kind of was in the right field to have the retinopathy, if that makes sense.
Yes, because by me teaching them how to be compassionate and have empathy for the client, I stood before them as a nurse and a patient. So when I did private duty, I explained to my private duty patients and everybody my condition and what I was going through. And so they too had like empathy, like, okay, well, we understand. Okay, great. Because by you being a patient and then you giving care to somebody, and they know that you have suffered and you have been sick as well, they tend to relate to you, and they tend to respond to you better in a positive way. So when I started having the eye surgery in 2023 on the good eye, that caused impairment in the good eye and no vision in the left eye. And that is what led to me having to medically retire from work. Because at this point, I can no longer withstand reading a whole lot of paper, the stress of being at work 16 hours, and so forth, so on. So the fact that the retinopathy is affecting the right eye now is what has taken a toll on my career. Yeah, if that makes sense. So as a registered nurse and having partial vision in my right eye and no vision in the left eye, it makes it difficult for me to perform certain tasks and procedures on clients and so forth, so on.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's hard because I'm just taking the example of, doing an IV on a patient, having to see the veins and do them the right way. I think it would be difficult in your situation to do those things. But for my next question, what do you think the concept of sickle cell retinopathy gets the attention that it deserves, or is it something under the radar that the health experts kind of are just researching still, that they don't have all the answers, that it needs to be studied more? And if there needs to be more research, do they care to do that research, or do they care to know a lot about it, or is it something where we need to speak up about it as a sickle cell community to have us do the research on this?
I think as a sickle cell community, we definitely need to speak up about it, seek sponsors, funding for research, because every time I read there's not enough data, a lack of data, or the participants are minimal, so they can't complete an extensive investigation or something, and it's just not enough data. So I think the doctors, retina specialists, they only can do so much for what's out there. I think they just need more retinal specialists to study, maybe search sickle cell a little bit more, and then they need to get more literature data placed out there in the clinics everywhere, because they have data for diabetic retinopathy, but I never saw a poster for sickle cell retinopathy. But yeah, I think it needs to have more research, because I think it's just limited right now. So I think more research needs to be done, and more awareness about it needs to be made to all.
Yeah.
I think they do the best they can with what they have,
Right. And that's funny you mentioned the diabetic retinopathy, because I was doing research for my channel on retinopathy, and there is a lot of sickle cell retinopathy articles, and a lot of them are just saying what we researched, what we found out about it back then don't apply to what we know now. And that's been the constant cycle of research with retinopathy that I've seen. It was something where, because diabetic retinopathy, they have a lot more data, they have a lot more research, and it's more solidified. But with sickle cell, it's, they're it doesn't affect the people with trait. And then it's you do get it if you have the trait. And then, it's not for, it doesn't affect people until it's a certain age. And then, it does, you can get it any, age. And so the cycle of research is for sickle cell retinopathy, and I don't know, it may have a formal term, but I guess I'm calling it the cycle of the research that comes out is not quick enough in terms of updating on processes and protocols with how to treat it. So when you mentioned your first eye, your left eye, when you got treated, they did the oil bubble, and then it was after you got symptoms in the right eye, they did the laser. It's something where it's like it's been a decade plus, and they've done more research, and now it's like they're switching over to different ways of treating it, it seems like.
Right. That's why I said, and you just reiterated and confirmed what I said, like back in 2006, 7, and 8 years when I was having the left eye treated, they didn't have much data of treatment or whatever, so they were probably doing the best they could do back then. And then 18 years later, when the right eye started to have the sickle cell retinopathy, it was like, right away, let's go ahead and do the laser. It's like they knew for sure, come on, let's go ahead and do this. Yeah.
Right. Okay. At least, so we can at least say that they're, learning, and according to that knowledge, they are adjusting their approach. So.
And then I did a little research, and I think I just want to probably have to do some more research, but I did find something that, like, it was like this, I don't know if it's a retina specialist, but his name is like Dr. Goldberg, and then it was like some article with even the different levels of retinopathy, and that was truly interesting and intriguing.
I never heard of the levels of retinopathy. I just know that it's proliferative retinopathy and non-proliferative retinopathy.
Yeah, but it got like 4. Let me see, they got like 4. Like one is stage 1, where it's peripheral arteriolar occlusions, and then the stage 2 is arterial venous anastomosis, and then 3 is proliferated sickle cell. That's what you say, proliferated sickle cell retinopathy, in which the arteriovenous connections proliferate into characteristic fan-shaped complexes like the C fan, and it's called neovascularization. I've seen that on my phone, that my eyes had neovascularization. And then the 4th one is when the vitreous hemorrhage occurs due to vitreous contraction on C fans, neovascular complexes. But I just found this. I was just reading through something, and I just stumbled across that there are 5 levels to sickle cell retinopathy, and it was under Dr. Goldberg's observation.
We need to get
even with that clinical study, I think I can't remember how it ended, because I think they probably needed more people who had it. Like, it's not a lot of people who have it in the areas in which they are living, in clinical trial areas, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I want to do more research to that to see, what more I can find.
We need to get Dr. Goldberg on the phone then.
It was like at Hopkins Medicine, what other word that I had read? I'm trying to remember. Hopkins Medical Miller Eye Institute, something like that. And then it was another doctor, Adrian Scott. I'm just calling up the name that I was reading in that one article. But I'm sorry I don't have the article right here. That's just off the top of my head that I was reading that, and I want to get back to that research.
Well, the sickle cell retinopathy is never gonna go away, so more research is definitely required. So my next question, so what because you mentioned earlier you had your kids driving when you could not see, when you were like when they were little. Is there, did you, because I know that was kind of something they were seeing as well, that they were just like, well, is this gonna cause mom to be blind? Is she gonna, like, how did you have, like, what coping mechanisms did you give your children on how to deal with you, or how to approach you with retinopathy?
Because I was always over the youth department, I was director of youth department for like all their lives, just about. We had a strong foundation based in God. So I would always tell them, we're going to walk by faith and not by sight. We're going to get through this. Everything is going to be all right. And as I would say that and pray, and keep them uplifted and everything, most of everything that they needed to do, God blessed me with a guardian angel by the name of Sheila. And she came in and she was our designated driver. She got them to and from the games, to and from school, church. We did a lot of things with Sheila. And she didn't leave until I went back to work. Because after everything faded, I was able to go back to work with just the right eye vision. So I thank God for sending her to help me and my children get around. So that kind of relieved them of some of the stress and the strain. And when they saw me go back to work, that lifted their spirits tremendously. It was like, okay, great. Mama got a good eye. Mama working with a good eye. So hopefully this will never happen again. We're going to soar. We're going to keep going. And that's basically what we did. We just walked by faith, not by sight. We just believed and trusted on God for everything that we needed. It was some truly hard times. And to the part of when you can't see the work, then you can't make money. So we lost that house to foreclosure because I wasn't working and I didn't have the funds. And when I got the funds, it was too late. But like I told them, we're just going to keep walking by faith. And just like Jesus Christ rose and died in 3 days, I'm going to rise and get us another house in 3 years. And that's what we did. And so after 3 years, I was able to keep working. God blessed me to keep working. I purchased my home again. And I finished school. They finished college. One finished from Baylor and Texas A&M. And now she lives in Ohio, Cincinnati, about to relocate to Chicago. And then the other one, he finished school from Morehouse, and he lives in D.C., and is doing pretty great. So they both are doing great. We both made it through those high school, college years, just, depending on God. And with hope and belief in our hearts that anything's possible with God. Don't give up. If you want your kids to finish school, or if you want to finish school, or if you want to do this or do that, you just put whatever the troubles is in the hands of the Lord, and you let Him handle it. And He will see you through it. I'm living, walking testimony. How the struggles was real, but we made it through despite my sickle cell condition. So yeah, that's how I did with the kids. We just, kept going to church, kept praying, kept singing. Kept studying, and we had to make a lot of accommodations, and we did a lot of sacrificing, but we made it through.
Yeah. And just so the audience knows, because you mentioned you had a guardian angel that drove your kids to their games and stuff. Were you married during this time? Did you have any husband that was helping out that could have gave you some of that load to lift some of the load financially? What was that part like? Yeah, putting you under the spotlight.
Yeah, actually, my then husband and I had been married throughout it all. Of course, I relocated due to Hurricane Katrina. So that was very stressful. And I think that's what kind of perked the eye to start doing what it was doing. So we divorced because he, lost his job and, so forth, so all circumstances or whatever come up. So after about the 4th or the 5th eye surgery, he, decided he needed out, he needed out. So he went on his way, and I just decided to stand my ground, take care of my kids, and make it through. But so no, his financial contributions wasn't there. It was basically the fact that by me being a registered nurse and having savings in a 401k a 403B, an annuity, having money in those type of places, because as you work as a registered nurse, I just was always a saver. So I always saved money in different areas. I was able to go back and take those monies down, even though they penalized me. But the penalty wasn't as great as what I was getting. So I was able to get those funds to help me stay abreast, because my kids went to private school. And my daughter played ball so well that she basically was on a scholarship from 7th grade on. And my son, he was on scholarship too academically, and he went to boarding school. And then from boarding school, he got another scholarship to go to Morehouse. So the funds that I had, I kind of like prioritized and had to do strategic budgeting. Okay. And that's what it was. It was about strategic budgeting. I took a budget course at church to help me get on track with how to save money, what bills to pay off, what credit cards I don't need, what credit cards I do need, how to pull my credit score up, which was very important. So once I began to do that and pull my credit score up, that's when everything starts to fall into place. And then I explained that to my children, because my daughter started doing my checkbook at an early age, because I couldn't see. So she started helping me with bills, writing bills and stuff out. So she was learning then. And I was also preparing the way for them to have a perfect credit. Like, once I went back to work, I was able to, I let my energy build up slowly. So once I went back to work, I would work as a school nurse during the day, grab my kids from practice or get them from practice or whatever. And then I had another guardian angel that would drive my children to school some mornings for me. And he did that faithfully for 2 or 3 years. So with other parents coming into the play as a village, they say take a village to raise the kids. So I had other parents at the school, the basketball parents, the swim team parents, or whoever it was, working together. We worked together to get the kids back and from their games or their tournaments. And then, like I said, strategically working, you have money in one bank, you have a credit union, and then they, help you out as well. So I had to take down money from my 401k and my annuities to help me live. And so once the house foreclosed, we went into an apartment, and then we went into a house, and then I lived 1 year with my best friend Tammy, and who is my children's godmother. I lived with her for a year or something until I truly saved what I needed to save, and I was able to purchase my own home in 2016. Because the eye surgeries ended in 2008, 2009, or something like that, and I stood in that house for a little while. And then 3 years after foreclosure, I was purchasing my own home in my own name. So with the sickle cell taking a toll on me, and I didn't want to be a burden to anybody, I just did what I needed to do. Withdrew my money from my savings, and I lived off that. My children was in private school, and I knew that they were academically inclined, so we just researched all types of scholarships to keep them going to college. However, I still had to take out like a parent loan or something for the dorm fees or whatever, but it all worked itself out, because after working in the school system, the loan forgiveness people forgave all of the loans and the parent plus loans and stuff like that I had taken out to get them to school. And of course, my son, he ended up graduating in the year that the billionaire paid out their tuition. So that was a huge blessing for all the struggles that I had done. I literally worked 3 jobs once I got my energy back up. I worked some weekends at a nursing home. I worked at night 4 to 9, sometimes at just a community college teaching. I sometimes worked at night private duty, home health, private duty with special needs kids. And during the day was my basic job to work as a school nurse. So I did all 3 tasks at different times, however my schedule will allow. for me to have extra money to make sure my children got what they needed and got the education that they needed.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, so the next question, this kind of leads me to like the next question, which is, given all of the stuff that you've been through with the retinopathy, what can you say would be a silver lining from all of this? Say what that you can take from it that was positive.
Trust and believe God has you. You put your faith and trust in God, He will provide a way. That's the silver lining. And my testimony is, I went through the storm. I lost my vision, divorced, lost my house, but I kept going with the vision of the right eye. I kept going, and God gave me the strength and the energy to work. And when I worked, I strategically budgeted and worked 3 different jobs to make sure I can make ends meet, make sure I can buy cords and do the things I needed for the children. And now I'm sitting here in my own home, and I'm just trusting and believing that God will continue to work it out for me, because I'm on disability now. And so far so good. He's been working it out, and the only thing I can say about the silver lining is put your trust and your faith in God, and He will work it out for you.
Right. Amen. Because that's the real silver lining, is God having, all the things you need in any season. So my next question is, as we wrap this interview up, for people like me that are just starting to get the floaters, that have their retinopathy diagnosis, they may be in their 20s or 30s, even 40s, and they are just as confused as someone that don't have sickle cell, that isn't used to floaters. So what could you tell people like me who want to get this situation resolved while still maintaining a healthy level of vision, while still doing the things that your eyes require you to do? And how do you go and navigate these things?
First, I will tell them to establish their relationship with God. Be respectful to your family members, because while I was going through, had it not been for my family members, my mom, my sisters, my brother, and my friends, because like I said, it takes a village to raise children. They all were pitching in at different times to help out. So don't be afraid to say what you have. Don't keep it a secret. I know there are HIPAA laws out there that tell you you don't have to say what you're going through, but find those persons you can trust and let them know what you're going through, because that's the only way they can hear you and try to help you navigate yourself through life. Also, another important aspect about life is get you a life insurance policy that has a living will on it, a rider living will, a living expense portion. I can't say the terminology correct right now, but check with your life insurance agent and see if you have a component on there that indicates in the time of a stroke, a heart attack, blindness, or any type of medical condition, that you will still get paid at least $25,000 or $50,000 or something like that to help you pay your bills while you're being hospitalized or being sick. But you'll have to talk to your insurance agent to make sure that you have that, outside of just, saving your money into your 403B or your annuity. Make sure you have that. I think it's called a living will rider, something like that, and it's an added component to your life insurance that will help you when you have to be hospitalized, away from work, can't work, and you need these funds to either pay your car note or to pay your mortgage or your rent or to get food in the house, different things like that, because it's a struggle when you're sick and you can't work and bring an income in. And with sickle cell retinopathy, if you can't see how to get to work, if you can't see how to function at a job, then you're really going to need a support system to help you. I know they have the Blind Association, volunteer of the Blind Association. You can also contact them as well, because I think they do things like train you to, accommodate your life to living with the blindness.
Okay. Yeah. So that has been okay. And then the last question. This is the last question. What do you want the viewer to know the most about you?
I just want them to know that I'm a registered nurse and a child of God, and I've been working for over 34 years in the pediatric elderly population and educating the next generation. And I will continue to do so as long as God gives me strength to do it. And don't stop. Don't give up. Don't give up. Continue to pursue your dreams. Continue to pursue whatever it is you want to do, with or without living with sickle cell or any other medical condition. Just don't give up. Just believe in God and keep trusting.
All right. And then how do people reach out to you? Say there's a doctor or a researcher that is interested to study retinopathy, that they want to reach out and get your information so they can start understanding it more. What contact information are you comfortable with giving?
Right now I just do my email, because I haven't set up anything sophisticated in the technology world. So I would say my name, Trina Saverin @gmail.com, and Saverin is spelled S as in Sam, A as in Adam, D as in Victor, E as in Edward, R as in Robert, I as in Isaiah, N as in Nancy. Trina is TRINA. Trina Saverin @gmail.com. Just contact me from there, because I would love to help or be a part of a clinical trial to figure out how we can eradicate or improve sickle cell retinopathy for all people.
All right. Well, thank you, Trina. This has been such a great interview, and I know for a fact people are going to gain some wisdom and knowledge from this. That last tip about the life insurance and the after when you get in the hospital, getting that a part of the life insurance, that was very valuable. So thank you. And for the audience, thank you for watching. And this is the end of the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.